What's up, fellas? So today is the feast day of St. Michael, and I'm doing this video about the origin of the St. Michael prayer. So, here's the St. Michael prayer. St. Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle, be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray, and do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who prowl about the world seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Ghost. So the origin of that prayer, it comes from Pope Leo XIII, and he wrote the prayer in 1884. And the story behind it is that he was saying mass one time and he basically fainted, and while he was out, he saw a vision of a conversation between Christ and Satan, and Satan was boasting that he could destroy the church and take over everything if he was given 100 years by Christ to have dominion over the earth. And Christ accepts his wager. And when Pope Leo XIII woke up, he went on to compose the St. Michael prayer, and he wrote it down right away. So the question is, was the 20th century that 100 years where Satan had dominion over the earth? And I think there's a lot of evidence to say so. So some people think that this 100 years started in 1914 because that's the beginning of World War I. Other people think that 1917 makes more sense because that's exactly 33 years from 1980 or 1884, and it's also the year when Fatima happened and the Bolshevik Revolution happened. Either one kind of makes sense. So that would be from 1914 to 2014 or 1917 to 2017. So during that time, a lot happened. World War I, World War II. There's the Gilded Age, which was kind of actually a degenerate age. The flappers. I don't know if you guys have read The Great Gatsby, but there definitely was kind of the loosening of morals during that period too. And the 30s, the Great Depression, the 40s. Also, another misnomer is the Greatest Generation. The Greatest Generation, they're good compared to what we are today, but they completely rejected tradition back then too. Many of the people at Woodstock during the 60s were of the Greatest Generation. Many of the people who were in the early feminism movement were of the Greatest Generation. They received the whole tradition of the faith intact, and they basically squandered it. Father Ripperger talks more about this, but yeah, the 40s, the 50s, the rise of the birth control pill, feminism, the sexual revolution in the 60s. There's a bird in the background. Yeah, the hippies, the psychedelic movements with like Terence McKenna, the New Age movements, the legalization of abortion, the millions of people who were killed because of communism in China and Russia due to the Great Leap Forward and the Bolshevik Revolution. You should read Gulag Archipelago by Alexander Solzhenitsyn to learn more in detail about that. Hundreds of millions of people died. The Japanese also killed millions of people, and the US basically took all their research during World War II. And then leading up to 2014, 2017, the legalization of gay marriage. It's been kind of progressively getting worse and worse. The family is under attack today, and let's say that Satan no longer has the control that he had during the 20th century. That doesn't mean that he's still not active, and that doesn't mean that basically all the groundwork that he's laid isn't bearing fruit today. I think that's what we see. Although you notice how in 2016, 2020, the world got way more polarized, and the Donald Trump phenomenon, Jordan Peterson, there's this kind of new movement that's been rising up in the mid 2010s, moving until today, and it's been gaining steam, picking up traction among young men. A restoration of masculinity is happening, and this all kind of just began to happen in the mid-2010s. So it is possible that God is now, that 100 years has elapsed, and now God is rallying his forces with this new movement that's coming up. So that's my thought. I think there's still a lot of destruction to come in the 2020s and the 2030s. But the thing is, it seems like many of us were, there's a lot more people who have had their eyes open, and it seems like the battle lines are more or less drawn. Like things have been revealed, things are more clear, and that is a good thing. Whereas before, no one really understood the ramifications of all these things, such as feminism, such as abortion, and and the psychedelic culture, the hippie movement. No one could really see the direct consequences of what was caused back then when they first happened, but now we can look back and we can see all the destruction that happened because of that. So I am hopeful for the future. I think God is rallying the forces, even though there might still be the great chastisement, which I believe is talked about in Fatima, but then there will be a new Christian age, I believe. I don't think we're in the end times, because what we know about eschatology, which is study of the end times, is that there's still got to be more stuff that's happened. I'm not so sure that the gospel has been spread to every single people group yet. We're getting there, but I don't think we're there yet. So I am hopeful for the future, and possibly things are going to get turbulent in the next decades, but if we can get through that, then truth will prevail. So hope you guys like this video. Subscribe if you like this type of content. I like having the kind of informal contents where it's off the cuff, it's not super production value, and leave a comment, give me some feedback. Do you like what I'm saying? Do you disagree? If you disagree, then give me some constructive criticism, and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. My goal is to get to 100 subscribers. I think I will eventually start posting to Odyssey as well. I gotta figure out how their token system works, but yeah, like YouTube, the kind of stuff I'm talking about, I'm going to get crushed on YouTube eventually. So I'm still small, so I don't have to worry too much, but if I keep growing, then they're probably going to crush me eventually. So I'm thinking Rumble and Odyssey are going to be the moves in the future. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one.